Hello and welcome to our podcast. I'm Josie, and today Joe and I are talking about dating and relationships, first dates, red flags, green flags, and some experiences you might relate to. Have you ever been ghosted? What makes a great first date? Stay with us for a natural, slow-paced conversation perfect for English learners. Let's get started.
Hi, Josie. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Joe. Thanks. And you?
I'm doing well. So, Josie, let's talk about dating. Have you been on any interesting first dates recently?
Well, not recently, but I've had some memorable first dates in the past. Some good, some not so good. What about you, Joe? What do you think makes a good first date?
That's a great question. I think a good first date should be relaxed and comfortable. Maybe meeting for coffee or going for a walk in the park. Nothing too fancy or stressful. You want to be able to talk and get to know each other. I don't like first dates at loud restaurants or clubs where you can't hear each other properly.
I completely agree. Communication is so important. You need to be able to have a conversation and see if you connect with the person. I also think it's good to choose something you both enjoy. If you both like art, maybe visit a gallery. If you like nature, go for a walk. What was your best first date experience?
My best first date was actually quite simple. We met at a coffee shop, talked for hours, and then decided to walk around the city. It felt very natural and easy. There was no pressure. We just enjoyed each other's company. What about you?
Mine was similar. We went to a bookshop and browsed books together, then had coffee and talked about our favorite authors. It was relaxed and fun. But I've also had some awkward first dates. Have you ever experienced a really bad first date?
Oh, yes. I once went on a date where the person spent the entire time on their phone. They were texting and checking social media constantly. It was so rude. I felt like I wasn't even there. That's definitely a red flag for me.
That's terrible. Being on your phone constantly is definitely a red flag. It shows they're not interested or respectful of your time. Speaking of red flags, what are some other warning signs you look for on a first date?
Well, if someone is rude to waiters or service staff, that's a big red flag for me. It shows how they treat people, especially when they think it doesn't matter. Also, if they only talk about themselves and never ask questions about you, that's a problem. What about you? What are your red flags?
I agree with all of those. Another red flag for me is if someone talks badly about their ex on the first date. I mean, it's okay to mention past relationships, but if they spend the whole time complaining about their ex, it shows they're not ready to move on. Also, if someone is too pushy or doesn't respect boundaries, that's a definite red flag.
Absolutely. Respecting boundaries is so important. Now, let's talk about green flags, the good signs. What are some positive things you look for?
Good question. A green flag for me is when someone is a good listener. When they ask questions and seem genuinely interested in what you're saying. Also, when they're kind and considerate. For example, if they ask about your preferences or make sure you're comfortable. What about you?
I look for someone who has a good sense of humor and can laugh at themselves. Life is too short to be serious all the time. Also, when someone is honest and authentic. You can tell when someone is being genuine versus trying to impress you with fake stories. Another green flag is when they're respectful and polite. Not just to you, but to everyone around them.
Those are all great points. I also think it's a green flag when someone is punctual and keeps their promises. If they say they'll meet you at 7 o'clock and they're there on time, it shows they respect your time. Now, let's talk about something many people have experienced. Ghosting. Have you ever been ghosted, Joe?
Unfortunately, yes. It's happened to me a couple of times. Ghosting is when someone suddenly stops responding to your messages and disappears without explanation. It's really frustrating and confusing. You're left wondering what went wrong. Have you experienced it?
Yes, I have. It's such a strange feeling. One day you're having great conversations, and the next day, nothing. Complete silence. I think ghosting has become more common with dating apps and online dating. It's easier to disappear when you haven't met someone in person many times. But it's still not a nice thing to do.
Exactly. I think people ghost because they're afraid of confrontation or they don't know how to say they're not interested. But honestly, it's much better to be honest and just say, I don't think we're a good match. At least then the other person has closure and can move on.
I completely agree. Honesty is always better than disappearing. Speaking of online dating, what do you think about dating apps? Have you used them?
Yes, I've used a few dating apps. They can be useful for meeting new people, especially if you're busy or don't have many opportunities to meet people naturally. But they also have their challenges. Sometimes people's profiles don't match reality, or conversations feel forced. What's your experience with dating apps?
I've tried them too. I think they're a good tool, but you have to be patient and not take it too seriously. I've met some interesting people through apps, but I've also had some disappointing experiences. I think the key is to move from messaging to meeting in person relatively quickly. You can't really know if there's chemistry until you meet face to face.
That's so true. You can message someone for weeks and then meet them and realize there's no connection. Or sometimes the opposite happens. You meet someone and there's instant chemistry. Dating is unpredictable. What advice would you give to someone going on their first date with someone they met online?
Great question. First, always meet in a public place for safety. Tell a friend where you're going and when you expect to be back. Second, keep your expectations realistic. Don't build up the person too much in your mind before meeting them. Third, be yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not. And finally, have fun. It's just a date, not a job interview. What advice would you give?
All excellent advice. I would add, don't drink too much alcohol on a first date. You want to be yourself and make good decisions. Also, ask open-ended questions to keep the conversation flowing. Instead of asking, do you like movies? Ask, what kind of movies do you enjoy and why? It leads to better conversations. And remember, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Not every date will lead to a relationship.
Absolutely. Rejection is part of dating, and it's important not to take it personally. Sometimes two people just aren't compatible, and that's fine. It's better to find out early than waste time. Now, let's talk about something positive. What do you think makes a relationship work in the long term?
I think communication is the most important thing. Being able to talk openly about your feelings, your needs, and your concerns. Also, trust and respect. You need to trust your partner and respect their independence and their choices. And of course, you need to have fun together. Laughter and shared experiences are so important.
I agree with all of that. I would also add compromise and support. You won't always agree on everything, so you need to be willing to compromise. And supporting each other's goals and dreams is crucial. A good partner should encourage you to be your best self, not hold you back.
Definitely. And I think it's important to maintain your own identity too. You don't have to do everything together or have all the same interests. It's healthy to have your own hobbies and friends. What do you think is the biggest mistake people make in relationships?
I think one big mistake is trying to change the other person. You should accept someone for who they are, not who you want them to be. Another mistake is not addressing problems early. Small issues can become big problems if you ignore them. It's better to have difficult conversations than to let resentment build up.
Those are both really important points. Well, Josie, this has been a great conversation about dating and relationships. I hope our listeners found it helpful and relatable.
Me too! Dating can be challenging, but it can also be fun and exciting. The key is to be yourself, be respectful, and keep a positive attitude. Well, that was our conversation about dating and relationships. I hope you enjoyed listening and learned some new vocabulary. Remember to listen again to pick up any words you might have missed. By the way, what's your best or worst dating experience? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your stories. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes to improve your English. Have a great day!